Do you want to know how to calm down someone who is crying? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world. And in this video, we're going to be talking about crying. In this video, we're going to be talking about what a person is going through when they're probably crying so that you can understand a little bit more there. But then also, we'll mention some key things that you can do to help a person get calm when they're crying. There's not an age for crying because anyone could have a moment where they just break down and things feel so overwhelming or confusing that they don't know how to handle their problem, and they don't really even know how to articulate their problem, and so they just cry. Many times when people are crying, it is because they don't know how to explain what is going on. Sometimes they actually feel pain. I mean, there's physical pain, but there's also just like that emotional pain, that grief, like heartbreaking pain. There are many things that could lead a person to feel like they really just need to or want to cry. Now, I will say that sometimes a good cry can be helpful. It can be healthy, you know. I mean, I'm thinking in particular of a time of loss. I worked at a funeral home for a lot of years, and a person does have to go through grieving. They have to cry. And I mean, maybe if somebody doesn't, I guess we wouldn't say something's wrong with them, but most people, you know, have a moment where they just need to have that heartbreak and get it out. Well, children can experience heartbreak over little teeny things if they set their heart too much on them. You know, like, oh, I didn't get a turn, or I didn't win the race and I really wanted to win, or something like that. And suddenly they're heartbroken about it. But I think if you're like me, then you recognize, okay, but a person needs to learn how to accept disappointment sometimes. Everything can't lead to crying every time, right? So there are times when crying is okay, and it's a good thing. If my child loses their puppy, if they can't find their favorite toy and they're worried about it and they cry, or a friend says something to them that's really hurtful and they don't know how to process it and they start to cry a little bit, I'm going to call that totally within the bounds of normal crying. But when there's a person who just starts crying just to cry, so maybe originally it started as something that would be considered a normal situation for crying, but then all of a sudden they're just crying because they're now hooked into this uncontrollable cry. Because what can happen with crying is you can get into it. You can go like on this loop, this cycle where your body just the breathing patterns lead to the crying perpetuating. The thought processes don't get outside of, I'm so sad, I'm crying, I'm crying, I'm crying. So at that point, a person is actually feeding the cry. Now that's a problem. So what do you do when a person is in a situation of crying? Whether they're feeding the cry or not, we want to be caring, we want to be understanding, but how do we help them choose to step out of it? Because I think that's one of the most important things to recognize, is that crying for most circumstances is actually a choice. It's a problem-solving technique, or a technique to try to solicit help or to get understanding. And there are other options besides crying that a person could utilize, and maybe they're just not thinking about them. So there's that circumstance, or there's the circumstance where a person just has a habit and they are now catering to the crying. So let's talk about some of these key things that you can do in order to help someone choose to stop crying. Even prepare ahead of time to know that crying is not going to be the best solution for every problem. But before we do that, do you see that button that says subscribe? That button is put here on this channel just for you. That's right. Click the button now so that you can see more videos in the future. So what do you do to teach a person ahead of time that they don't need to cry? Well, you teach them skills. 4 basic skills. So you see this stack of books here. This is actually all the books that I've written myself. I've even added to some other ones that are other people's. This book here, Parenting a House United, teaches all of the skills and principles of self-government, how to set up the whole environment for self-government. But these 4 books here, the green, red, blue, and purple books, teach the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. All 4 of those 4 basic skills help a person know that there is another option for them to solve their problem besides crying about it. So they can always disagree appropriately, right? They can always use that skill where they can seek to understand somebody else, then explain their point of view, stay calm, listen to what another person has to say, discuss stuff openly. That's disagreeing appropriately, a very powerful skill. They also can learn to accept no answers. The Green Book teaches how to accept no answers. This prepares a person to look at the person or the situation, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay, or ask to disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject so they don't keep processing on the same problem again and again. This helps them let things go. When a person is crying about something, it's because they're processing on it again and again, and they're not letting it go. They're trying to let it go through the emotion instead of just being able to talk about it. So when a person disagrees appropriately, they can talk about it. When they've decided this isn't such a big deal, they have to know how to let it go. Have you ever cried about something and then thought, why did I cry about that? That wasn't a big deal. Why did it just happen? And it's because we kept thinking about it and didn't want to let it go, and we wanted to let it go the emotional way instead of the talk about it way. So teaching a person how to follow instructions, accept no answers and criticism, accept consequences, and disagree appropriately are 4 things that you can do to lead a person toward calm communication instead of toward emoting about something as a means to try to solve their problem. Now, this doesn't mean, like I said, that crying is bad. Sometimes a person does shed a few tears even when they're trying to stay calm and accept a no answer. If I can see my child is trying to be calm and accept a no answer and we're talking about it, but a tear trickles out or they have a little bit of a quiver in their lip, I'm not going to even mention it except for just to say, I know this is hard, but you're doing a great job at trying to be calm and talk about it instead of just using emotions. So I'll help them see that they can use their skills to get calm and not fall into that emotional trap that they did before. So we've talked about how to prepare someone to get calm ahead of time. So you can teach them skills and then you can appeal to those skills in the moment. That's going to be your most effective strategy for helping a person choose to get calm and learn how to calm themselves down when they are crying. But let's say you just happen to be with a person and they don't know any of these skills. Then what are you going to do to help them stop crying? Now, first, remember, they choose it, okay? So what I recommend is that you seek to understand first. This is one of the principles of self-government, very powerful for relationship building. So what you do is you say, it seems like right now you are very sad about fill in the blank, whatever it is. Or it seems like right now you're having a little bit of stress and some concern and worry about something. And I want to talk to you about what that is. So let's take some breaths. Let's get calm. You might say, hey, right now you're crying. And maybe you don't want to be, maybe you do. But really, this is probably just stress talking. And if we can get calm, we probably can solve the problem. So what did I do just there? I described, you're crying right now to solve your problem. And then I explained, there's another way you could do it, right? We could do it a different way. So how about we choose to get calm right now? And then we'll spend some time talking about it. Sometimes a person just has to know that somebody else will understand them, that somebody else will care when they're having a hard situation. They want to know that they're understood, that someone sees, oh, I am crying. And, oh, I do want to know what this is. We can talk about this. And then point them toward taking some deep breaths. Or if you know that they have some other calm plan in mind, you can point them toward their calm plan. And then you can talk about the circumstance with them. So seek to understand what might be the problem. Declare that you think you do understand whatever it is. Maybe even describe the behavior that they are doing. And let them know that there is another way and that they could go toward calmness. They can start to take some deep breaths. Then you're just going to instruct them. How about you breathe in and breathe out? Okay, I need you to take a breath in and take a breath out. When a person chooses to regulate their breathing, so get it on a regular pattern, their crying will start to stop. This even works with babies. So when a baby is crying, if you breathe in, and you breathe out on their little hand, and then you breathe in, and you breathe out, they can learn how to take deep breaths. They'll start mimicking your breathing. Also, if you breathe in and out very calmly as you're rocking them, that actually also helps them regulate their breathing. So whoever they are close to, they will start to breathe like them. If you are stressed, then their breathing will not calm down and it will maintain a stressed breathing pattern as well, and that will probably perpetuate the crying. Even though a person chooses to calm themselves down, there are things that you can do to help. You can help them by describing, help them by pointing them toward calmness, and ahead of time, if you think of it, teach them the skills that they need for self-government. This won't just help them stop the crying in the moment, but it will help them solve all kinds of other problems, because those 4 basic skills take care of 99% of your behavioral problems. Now, if you are interested more in calmness and preparing yourself to be a calm person to help another person get calm, then I have something for you. It is called the Calm Parenting Toolkit. In the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. It says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. If you click on that link right now, you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. It will give you 10 tools for calmness to help you and the other person that you're hoping to help calm down as well. So click on the link now and I'll see you there.